All right, hi. In this demo, we're going to try to create an Azure web app using the CLI commands only, right? So in case you've always just used the portal to do that, then I'm going to show you how easy it really is just using the Azure CLI. In our case, I'm using the Cloud Shell for this demonstration. However, the same thing would work from your local machine. I'm just doing this because it's easier to manage the required permissions this way, right? So I kind of know what identity I'm using directly here, whereas with the CLI, otherwise I would need to swap identities all of the time, and don't really like that. So if you remember, when we're working with app service, the first thing that we need to do is create an app service plan. Now that works via the AZ app service subcommand. And in app service, there is a plan subcommand. So we can just take a look at that. There we go. So we can create, delete list, show and update service plans. As we don't have one yet, we better create one, right? So let's take a look at how that works. AZ app service plan create. And here are the options. So basically what we need to have is a name and a resource group. Those are required. Additionally, we can either say that we want to have a Windows container via --hyper-v, or a Linux worker --is Linux, right? So we are going to take Linux out of these. We can set up the number of workers, but we're just going to take one, and that's the default value, so we don't need to wait for that. And then we want to use a specific SKU. We could take the free tier. We're going to use basic small, but that's also the default. So I'm actually not going to even set that up either, right? So we have a couple of examples here. Here is one with 4 Linux workers. Here is a container one that uses Hyper-V and the P1v3 option. And then here is one that uses an I1 with an app service environment. We're not going to use app service environments right now. But yeah, so let's try this out. So we're going to create. We're going to need a resource group. And I think I need to first create one. Let's see what I have here. Cool, that's done. And then we do the plan create. So here we needed to have the resource group that we just created, myrg. And then a name, let's say my plan. I'm a little bit short for unique names in here. And then we want to say that we're using an Linux environment, and I think everything else we are going to do by default. You can see that we're working in quite a new account here, so a lot of things need to be registered first. There we go. This is our app service plan. You can see that we have capacity 1, family B, the name B1, of course, SKU. And everything is as we defined. So next up, let's create an application. So for this, we use the web app command. And if we again take a look at this, then we have the same, roughly the same commands available. So what we're going to do is web app create. Quite a lot of things to set up in here. So we need to have a name, of course. We need to have reference back to the plan and the resource group. What else do we need to set up? We might want to set up the deployment container image name, as we're going to use a image from Docker Hub to host our environment, right? That automatically will fetch that. And then the rest of the stuff we don't really need. Everything else works nicely otherwise. So basically what we're doing is this option here, right? And deployment container image name was -i. All right, so AZ web app create. Then we had the resource group G was my RG, and then we had the plan P, which was my plan, was it? What did I create? I already forgot. My plan, yeah. Cool, and then we need a name for our cool new web app. Let's call it my app. And then this is not going to work alone because this needs to be a unique name. So I'm going to add, 5 sevens to it, just to make sure that we have a unique name. And then we need the container. So I'm going to use a container from Microsoft. Just going to be a sample ASP.NET application. Oh, I think it's like this. All right, let's see how this works. There we go. We have created something. That's nice. So here's the host name. We don't really need to find it from here. We know that it's going to be our app name.azurewebsites.net. Just copy it there for ease of use. And now when we browse to our web app, now it's loaded. So this is the ASP.NET app available in a Docker container. This is what it looks like. You can also see a little bit about the internals of the machine in here. Okay, so what do we do if we want to change the container that our app is using? Well, one of the ways to do that is to change the config of the web app. So there is a web app config command, and if we take a look at that, you can see over here that we can manage existing web apps container settings. So let's take a look at that a little bit more, and we can see we can show the settings and then set the settings. So what we're going to do first is we want to show, right? And then we're going to need to give it a couple of arguments as well, right? So what we need to say here is show, and then G for my RG, and then it was name for my app. No. What No, it was my app 77. Right, there we go. So here are the configs regarding the container, right? So we have Docker custom image name over here, and then the registry server URL. So the thing that we need to change is basically the registry server URL, and then we can even see how that's done. So if we take a look at the set command here, that gives us an idea of what we can change. And here is the image, right? So this is the same thing that we set up in the when we created the web app. So let's try this out. Yeah? So az web app config container set my resource group, right? My app 77777. And then we want to set up the image name -i, and now I want to use a different image. Let's use this one from GitHub. So I think we need to put that into hyphens just to be on the safe side. GitHub and .NET. Copy paste. Typing this not from memory, but I have this elsewhere. .NET Docker, sorry. Tree master samples ASP.NET app. Right? GitHub.com.NET .NET Docker tree, not mater but master samples ASP.NET app. This should be the place. There we go. Now it has been changed. And that's it. That's everything we got from you in this demo. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.